Renewcell released their year-end report for 2021, and I'm here with CEO Patrik Lundström. Welcome, Patrik.
Thank you.
So how would you, first of all, summarize this year?
The last year, you mean, I guess. Last year was very intense. We started off the first half with negotiations around the equipment, and then we started off the installation, or actually the preparation of the installation, so preparing the buildings and so forth. And then in the fourth quarter, we started installing the equipment. So that's on the building of the site. We've also had a fantastic year when it comes to the production that we have in Kristinehamn. It's an ongoing production, and we have delivered quite a lot of material to our customers and brand collaborations. But we have also worked quite a lot with different type of tests and making sure that we prepare for the startup at the site Renewcell 1, which is the site in Ortviken. So a lot of things have happened on the production side as well as on the development side, but also we have had a lot of customer contacts. Very interesting, and we get so much interest at this moment in time, and that's why we have to go out with these decisions of expansion and moving ahead.
Yes, that's actually my first question, of course, because that's the main news that you released today, apart from the year-end report, of course. And that's about expanding in a quicker pace than you originally had planned for it. It's in Ortviken. What would you say led you to take this step to accelerate?
It is the customer contacts that we have. During the year, it has accelerated. We get more and more interest. We also see that traditional brands and textiles made out of cotton is moving towards our type of fibers. Cotton is a textile nice to wear, but it's very, very resource intense, and it's actually damaging the planet. If you take the Aral Sea, for example, which is gone, which was cotton agriculturing in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan that led to this. So cotton is nice to wear, but it's not a good environmental solution. And that leads brands like Levi's, for example, replacing approximately 40% of their textiles or the content of their textiles to cellulose fibers. So we see that move, and we also see an increase in general from brands to work together with Renewcell, as well as fiber producers. So it's the increase, as well as we've also done a deep dive and strategic work during the autumn, and we've seen that by 2030 it's going to be needed approximately 6 million tons of Renewcell type of textiles. And here, of course, the previous guidance that we had was 360,000 tons by 2030 is, of course, not going to be enough. So that's why we are putting that earlier. And the plan now is that we're going to have 360,000 metric tons by 2025.
Yeah, that's an increase of pace. But following this expansion plans, there's also an evaluation ongoing to raise your operational targets, and you've involved both BNP Paribas and Carnegie to evaluate this. I know it's difficult to answer with a specific number, but do you have a rough estimate of how much this will cost?
I do, but I would like to continue doing the detail, the pre-engineering, and after the pre-engineering, I'd like to be better suited to communicate the number. So that will be a part of the pre-engineering, as well as the financial evaluation that we're doing together with BNP Paribas and Carnegie.
And if you put it all on a timeline, do you know approximately when the evaluation will be ready?
I'd like to pass on that question. I've been instructed to pass on that question, but we're going to do this now. We're starting this work together with BNP Paribas and Carnegie now. So there will be. Most people probably understand approximately when I'm saying that, but the work is ongoing at this moment.
Of course. And now you talked about Levi's before. Can you tell me a bit more about that collaboration?
That is a fantastic collaboration because, of course, the 501s is an iconic brand. It's like Coca-Cola, that collaboration has been ongoing for quite a while. We also launched the 502s with them and another pair of jeans called High Waist for women, and all of those launches that we've done has really sold out directly. So that has also increased their interest, but also Levi's is a forerunner when it comes to getting into sustainable fibers. And here we had a very close collaboration, and the jeans, it's difficult to explain, but the touch and feel feels exactly like a pair of cotton jeans, but it's actually replaced with 40% cellulose fibers. So it's a very strong, let's say, signal to the market that you don't need to have cotton in your garments. You can actually replace it, at least some of it, with cellulose fibers.
Do you think in the future can you replace all of it, or will it change the look and feel too much?
It is possible to replace. For some garments, you can replace it 100%. For other garments, there might be a mix. When it comes to jeans, we have done jeans that are, or we have seen jeans that have been even higher in viscose content compared to what we have. They become a little bit heavier, but otherwise a little bit softer. So they look exactly like normal jeans. So it's also about how you spin your threads, as well as how you make the fabrics that will determine how much you can actually replace. And we're just in the start of this transformation of the fashion industry. The textile industry is about 4% of all greenhouse gases. So we need to create circularity in that industry, of course. And Renewcell, we're there to be that link to become circular. So the collaborations with Levi's, with H&M, Bestseller, and others are very important. But we're just in the start, and it's going to be a lot more as we go forward.
Now the 501s and the jeans are they originated from being workwear, really durable, right? What about they're not used the same way today. It's closer to fashion, I guess, and they're not used that much chopping wood in the forest. What about the durability of your fiber? Is it any different from the original?
I don't think so, actually. That question should actually go to Levi's, because it's not only about the cellulose material in it, it's also how you spin the threads and weave the fabric that determines the durability. But I bought and I have the 501s, and they feel exactly like a pair of 100% cotton type of Levi's 501s. So I expect it to be the same durability. And that's also what Levi's is saying in their ads. It's the same feel, it's the same durability, it's the same type of jeans. It's just that it's a lot more environmentally friendly. And
building on your expansion plans that we discussed here earlier in the interview, there are a lot of ongoing discussions with future customers. In October, for example, you signed a letter of intent with Kelheim, is it? It's a name that I'm not super familiar with. Could you explain their market position?
Kelheim is a European viscose producer, and there are quite a few viscose producers in the world. It's about 15, 20 viscose producers. Other names are, for example, Birla, Säteri, Lensing, and these type of companies. And we have contact with the whole market of viscose producers. So we're selling our dissolving pulp to the viscose producers. The viscose producers make a viscose fiber, and then they are selling that or making the threads themselves, and then they are making new fabrics out of it. So the Kelheim collaboration is part of the European loop, we call it, but also we're working with a broad spectrum of customers.
Patrik, I wanted to end this interview with a bit of forward-looking question. As you end this interview now, you go back to your headquarters. What's your focus? Where's your focus right now?
I have two focuses basically, and one is that, of course, to get the plant up and running. That's my main focus. But I also focus as, due to the position I have, where we're going to go next. And that's what this announcement is about today. The strategic work that we've done over the fall, and that we need to increase the pace in order to meet customer demand. So those are the focuses I'm currently working on.
What about competition? How far along have they come?
We believe that we still are about 5 to 7 years ahead of competition. Some competitors say that they are going to start their pilot lines, and then, of course, it takes a few years to run it, and then they need to build their first commercial, and then they need to run that for a few years and so forth. So we believe that we are about 5 to 7 years ahead of competition. With that said, we could use more competition because, as I said, the market for just the circulose type of fibers is 6 million tons, but the textile industry is 110 million tons, growing to 160 million tons over this decade.
So from a sustainable point of view, there needs to be more actors
Need to be a lot more.
Patrik, thank you so much for joining me here today and answering my questions.
Thank you.